Think for yourself. Question authority.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Now, one of the most requested topics that I get during my live streams and just in general on Twitter, ever since this new Nintendo Switch was rumored to be coming as soon as 2019 and now in 2020, obviously, it's been rumored to be starting production in Q1 to be released in the halfway point of 2020. The most requested topic that I keep getting is that of a supplemental computing device that could be attached to this new Switch for use to upgrade its graphics and to prolong the lifespan of this console going forward. And a similar topic was brought up back in 2016 when the Switch was first announced. Would the dock actually have any extra power in it to prolong the lifespan of the current Switch to give it possibly 4K graphics and things like that? Of course, later on we found out that that wasn't the case and that the current Switch hardware is not capable of doing that type of programming as far as in its dock is concerned in connection with the console. The actual connection itself does not do that. So the question keeps coming up, do I think this new more powerful Switch coming in 2020 will have the capability of having this supplemental computing device or a dock that could possibly increase the power of the console when attached to the TV? And the answer to that question is multifaceted, of course, and a lot of it has to do with the rumored specifications that this new Switch could have as far as its physical body is concerned. So first of all, do I think it's possible? Yes, absolutely. And to get more detail on the actual reasoning behind this, you need to go all the way back to 2015 on this channel. This channel, in fact, was the first channel to do a full explanation of the patent that Nintendo released for the supplemental computing device, and it was the most detailed explanation you'll find on YouTube. And I'll put a link to this in the description of this video, but basically it was fully described in that video with a friend of mine, going completely in depth, and it was a very complex patent that Nintendo had released. And obviously, besides just networking ability, it was also having the ability to increase the graphics performance of the console with this attachment, basically external GPU that would attach through a cable to the console. A very complex, very detailed, very cool, obviously, patent that Nintendo had, and it still exists. Hasn't been canceled. The patent is still out there for Nintendo to use if needed for this new more powerful Switch coming. So the answer is yes, I do think Nintendo could use a supplemental computing device as far as an external GPU adapter to this new Switch coming. Now that it's been found out that Nintendo's been working on things like PCI Express in their job postings, and obviously with technology being rapidly advancing, things like USB 4.0 has drastically increased the read speeds possible as far as transferring data between one device to another. So yes, it is actually possible for Nintendo to use this in a console going forward. Now, Digitimes reported that through suppliers who have seen specifications as far as the build makeup of this new Switch that's going to be starting production here in Q1, just basically very soon now, that it's going to have a magnesium alloy body. And as we talked about in a previous video, this magnesium alloy body will be a source of protection for this new Switch coming this year, as far as it being more durable, being able to withstand more heat, and of course it lasting for a very, very long time. It's extremely durable and very shapeable metal, and very lightweight metal as well. And not only will it withstand heat, but also it would withstand overclocking of this device to an extreme level. And when I say extreme, I don't mean, breaking the console or anything like that, but basically overclocking it more so than what the current Switch would be capable of docked. And that is exactly the extra power that the current Switch gets when it's docked. And Nintendo is overclocking the chip inside the Nintendo Switch itself, the Tegra X1 processor, to a greater degree so it can output better graphics on your TV instead of when you're taking it on the go, and it actually decreases the resolution to save battery. This new, more powerful Switch, obviously with a brand new SoC, updated RAM, and other battery saving options that it would be used while portable, this magnesium alloy body of this new Nintendo Switch could have a similar effect while docked as a supplemental computing device external GPU would while docked to a Switch that doesn't actually increase its clock speeds through that overclocking ability that would be insulated from the magnesium alloy body for this new Switch. So you may say that, well, Nintendo could actually still have this external dock with more power to give it native 4K 60 frames per second, or even native 4K 120 frames per second, something crazy like that. They could actually double the GPU and just put another GPU in there and things like that while it's on your TV. Now, while theoretically they could do that, the likelihood of that actually happening at this point, quite frankly, might be lower than you think. Due to the way Nintendo has operated with their handhelds, they would rather actually release more variations of this new Switch than theoretically releasing a external GPU that would attach to it to increase the clock speeds or increase the graphical performance. Because if you release more iterations of the console, you get more sales and more money per system sold because you're releasing new and improved versions of that console. And you have no other place to look than the Nintendo 3DS. You have the original 3DS, you have the new Nintendo 3DS, you have the 3DS XL, you have the 2DS, you have the new 2DS XL. You have all these different variants of the 2DS that Nintendo has sold to great success for that console. So while theoretically, yes, Nintendo could use Thunderbolt or USB 4.0 for this new, more powerful Switch to actually double its GPU performance or even triple it while it's docked to your TV, how much more likely would they be to actually release another variant of that new Switch in the future, maybe in 2022, 2023, that is more powerful and that can actually overclock even more so on that Switch while docked than the one they're going to release this year? It seems far more likely they would do that at this point than actually release another dock that have an external GPU, because there's also other things you have to worry about. We have the whole issue of the games having to adjust on the fly. You unplug that GPU and possibly you have corrupted graphics on your console because it was just connected to the GPU and you have to disconnect it, and there's all kinds of things that could possibly happen that would be a lot easier if Nintendo just allowed even better overclocking on the actual console itself. You could get similar increases of performance while docked to your TV without actually having to have a supplemental computing device external GPU. I think that theoretically could be a lot better overall for Nintendo to not only sell more consoles, but also to have better performance without actually having to mess with the actual connectivity of the system, putting another graphics card on there that could theoretically damage possibly how the games work on your system by the theoretically constantly plugging it in, plugging it out action. There's a lot of unknown variables there that could happen that would be a lot safer just to use a console itself to overclock itself while docked, even more so. And this magnesium alloy body that Nintendo has in production, reportedly coming into production for this new Switch, would actually allow them to have greater protection and higher heat tolerance for them to do that in a custom SoC that Nintendo will obviously be using for this new, more powerful Switch coming in 2020. So yes, it is really exciting to think about an external GPU that you could plug in and give you greater graphics when you're docked in your TV for this new Switch coming in 2020. But do I think Nintendo will do it at this point? I think right now the chances are unlikely that they will, but the good news is they have a higher probability of giving you even greater performance while docked without having a supplemental computing device due to that magnesium alloy body that can give you much greater clock speeds while docked now than it could with the current iteration of the Switch with its plastic, obviously with it cracking and the damage that has already taken place with that console. This new Switch has the possibility of having much greater tolerance for those things, thus giving you much better performance on your 4K TV, which will be very cool. I'm sure you guys will agree. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.